Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today's vlog is going to be kind of weird. It's a combination of me sitting here and talking about this and then also footage from my New York trip that I took last month. So if you follow me over on Instagram, you already kind of know a little bit of what that trip was about because I did share the entire trip while I was there on my Instagram. I was invited out to New York to Airem's Beauty and Med Spa, which was so amazing. I met Dr. Park while I was in Arizona at the Mom 2.0 conference. They invited me out and said I could bring a friend for some spa treatments and to check out their location. And then my friend and I also spent 2 days extra in New York City, just kind of sightseeing and walking a ton and just kind of taking in the city, which was a lot of fun. Yeah, this is going to be a combination of my trip to the spa and then also the 2 days that we had in the city, and there will be a little bit of actual footage and there'll be a little bit of me talking over it just because the trip was so unstructured other than the day that we were at the spa that it was hard to continuously get content. And if you've never been to New York City, it is very difficult to take any time to take shots or make sure things are being recorded properly just because it is so fast moving. And even though we were there on weekdays, it was so incredibly busy. And if you stopped at all in certain sections of the street, you were going to either get ran over or pushed into the oncoming traffic. Like, that's how bad it was. So I was able to get some footage, but it wasn't the greatest. So we're just going to do a little bit of a mashup and hopefully you will get to see how much fun we had on our trip. All right, so first things first was packing. We left super early Monday morning. I think we had to leave at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to get there by 6 because our flight was at 8. Luckily, it's a quick flight from Ohio to New York, so that was really, really nice. Actually, Detroit, because we flew out of Detroit. And because we were going to be walking around downtown New York a lot and we didn't know what was going on the last day that we were there, we didn't want to have a lot of luggage on us. And since we were only going to be there for a couple of days, we both decided to just pack backpacks and a personal item. After we landed, we went straight to Airem, which is the first Korean beauty-inspired medical aesthetic spa in the US. Their main focus is on working on the inner and outer self-work based on the concept of gwale, a centuries-old Korean principle of maintaining self-care, which they not only practice at their spa, but also in the products that they sell as well. All right, so we made it to Airem in one piece. We might smell like the driver, but it's okay. We're in their beautiful changing room / locker room. We have our robes and our slippers to change into, so that's what we're gonna do, but we're in New York. We made it here safely. All right, look how cute these robes are though. And then we have little slippy slips. Neither one of us wore bras today, so this will be interesting. She's like, you don't have to take your bra or underwear off. I'm like, well, we're not wearing any. After we changed, we were led down the hall to a beautiful room where we took part in a tea ceremony, guided meditation, and seated yoga.
Our mind believes the thoughts that we feed it. So the more that we reinforce that positive, I think the work is finding light in the most difficult situations and kind of navigating through that with the so that's really the work of this practice. It's not so much ignoring all the craziness around us, more coming to a place of groundedness where we're able to handle it more gracefully.
After the tea ceremony, it was time for our treatments. I was getting the Skin Even treatment, which utilizes gentle fractional laser technology to improve skin tone and texture with the added benefit of enhancing the skin's permeability of skincare products. So for me, I'm currently working on my pore size because I have rather large pores. I have oily skin, I have uneven texture just because I have combination oily dry skin, and as I'm aging, my skin has lost its firmness, of course, and just volume. So I am working on, wrinkles and all of that good stuff and all the fun things that come along with turning 30. After my treatment was done, I was led back to the room where we had our tea ceremony, where the zero gravity chairs were and some warm fuzzy blankets. So I sat there and just kind of relaxed with my fan because my face was on fire. I equate it to feeling like a sunburn, not super bad, but also feeling just, again, on fire. So I sat there and relaxed while Aubrey had her treatments. Aubrey chose the Everglow, which is a supercharged microinfusion facial that delivers an instant glow up using a 24-karat gold-plated stamping device. It's a blend of customized boosters working to nourish your skin, including hyaluronic acid, Botox, vitamins, PRP stem cells, growth factors, antioxidants, retinol, peptides, and exosomes. So this helps to reduce fine lines and wrinkles, boost collagen production, and improve skin texture for a youthful, radiant complexion. If I'm being completely honest, I'm a little bit jealous that she got that treatment and I should have picked that one because her skin looked so glossy and glassy and smooth and beautiful afterwards. And then before we left Airem, we were treated to an amazing sushi lunch with Dr. Park, which she is beautiful inside and out. I highly suggest going to her if you're in the area. If you live in New York, you're so lucky because I wish I had somebody like this nearby to be able to talk to about my skincare and plastic surgery needs. So again, please look her up. She's awesome. She has her own Instagram account as well, along with Airem Rituals and Airem Essentials. Day 2 in New York, we decided to take the train into the city, which we were so excited about, but of course we needed to protect our skin because we had just had treatments done, so we were both donning our ball caps and slathered in sunscreen. Our main goal for our first day in New York City was to just cover as much ground as possible because New York City is just so huge and there's so many boroughs to visit. So we kind of did like a straight line through the city as far as we could go, and then we backtracked and kind of caught stuff that we didn't on the way back to the train station. So first things first was just seeing the usual things like the Empire State Building and all of that stuff, and most of that stuff you kind of walked past or saw on your way to other things, which was really helpful. But we kind of hit just mostly like the shopping district this first day. We saw a really cute like Asian kawaii kind of store that had the most adorable things in it, which I wish my girls could have seen because they would have just loved it. So I picked up some souvenirs for the girls and myself there, and that I believe was in Times Square. And then we hit up Macy's, which is the largest, I believe, retail store, it said, in the country or something like that. And they were not joking. It was huge. It was like a mall, but it was a store. It was odd, but beautiful. We also came across these really old escalators that were made out of wood, which we thought were fascinating. Some people probably don't. I don't know the history behind them, but it was a really neat experience seeing the inside of the Macy's because it was a beautiful historic building. And then again, all the things inside were just really fun to see and window shop. I would have loved to have bought some things, especially this Coach purse that I saw, but I had limited space in my carry-on and backpack on the way home. So it was a lot of just looking at things this trip. But next trip, we will do more. All right, so I know for a fact that I'm going way out of order in regards to what we did and saw while we were in New York City, but you're kind of getting the gist of everything. I also didn't take a ton of photos or video of every little aspect of what we were doing because, again, it was extremely busy on the streets and I didn't want to be in people's way, and people did not wait for you to get out of the way. Let's just say that. So, yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of content shot in a nice way to share in this video, but after that, we did like Madison Square, we did Garden, we did Times Square, all of that stuff, but we saw a ton of stuff, walked a ton of places, and then we decided to start heading towards the High Line and kind of Chelsea and Greenwich Village and just see how far we could go that first day. So we literally just started just walking, and when we came up on something, we stopped and looked at it like little Spain. This was a cute little like indoor market thing. I won't even say little. It was big considering it was all indoors, and it had just a bunch of different restaurants and shops and things like that. We sat at the restaurant that was kind of on the outside of Little Spain, which was kind of half indoor, half outdoor, and it was beautiful, and we had some like tapas, and it was just wonderful. And then after that, we jumped on the High Line, or walked up the stairs, I should say, to the High Line, and walked as far as we could on that, which took us towards Chelsea and the, I believe, warehouse district and all of that. Walking on the High Line. Just had some tapas, if you will. These apartment buildings. That's so wild. Like, the structure looks so futuristic.
It does. It looks weird. It looks like
Art.
Not in great shape, but also like purposefully made that way.
It feels like it should be in Asia, though, not here.
It would
So don't make fun of us, but we're headed to go hunt down and see the outside of a building, or friend's building. Do we want to spend money to go see the top of the Empire State Building? No. But will we walk really far in hot and humid weather to go see the building that was shot outside? Yes. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to do as we're trying to find the friend's apartment, one of the things I wanted to do was I wanted to just see people living in New York. I wanted to experience, like, I don't know, a school letting out downtown, or I don't know, people just getting groceries or walking their dogs. I don't know, and I definitely wanted to see brownstones. And it's all happening. So part of the High Line was apparently under construction, so we didn't actually get to do the full High Line, but it did get us safely to where we needed to go towards the Friends building. Yes, we walked forever and a half just to see the outside of the building that Friends was supposedly where Monica and Rachel and Chandler and Joey's apartment was. Obviously, they never lived there. Obviously, the show was never shot in there, but for us, it was like we wanted to go see it because why not, right? So we walked forever, but in doing so, we saw a lot of cool things. I saw a lot of New Yorkers being New Yorkers, which was awesome because I just love people watching and experiencing how other people live. And we got to get a little bit of a shower. It did start raining while we were walking towards the Friends building, and it did actually start downpouring at some point too. We went to Magnolia Bakery, which if you live in New York or if you are going to New York City, I highly recommend. The one that was towards Chelsea, not towards like Rockefeller, because there's one over there as well, but the one that's in the other side of the area where we were, I highly suggest that one over it. It seems more authentic of the bakery, and they had a wider selection of flavors in their cupcakes. I kid you not, Aubrey and I had the best cupcakes that I will say I've ever had in my life there. I wish we would have gotten more. I wish we would have just like bought a bunch and took some home because they were amazing. And the second location that we went to the next day by Rockefeller did not have the same flavor, so I didn't get another one. But we had the hummingbird and we had a blueberry lemonade one, and oh my gosh, I'm like drooling thinking about it. But we ate cupcakes outside in the rain. It was actually really nice that it started raining because the streets started clearing up and the air started finally feeling better. I will say I don't know how people live in New York City. Aubrey and I both felt like the second we got off the train and walked out of Grand Central Station, we both felt like our skin was just being clogged immediately. Granted, we had a bunch of sunscreen on and aftercare products from our treatments the day before, which is why our faces look so greasy, but like all of our body just felt gross the second we walked out. It just was a lot. The air was very congested and just heavy and gross feeling, and I don't know how to explain that better, but it was nice. The rain, even though it was kind of an inconvenience of getting wet and stuff like that, it cleared up the air a little bit. It definitely cleared up the streets because people apparently did not want to walk around in the rain like we did, but we didn't care because it was so hot and humid that we basically dried off as soon as we got wet. It was weird, but we did end up, after our long walking and kind of going around the area, looking at buildings and watching people, we ended up going into the Chelsea market. I wish we would have had more time there. Again, because we only had 2 days in New York City, it was hard to dedicate a long stretch of time in one spot because we wanted to see as much as we could. So looking towards a future trip, we would probably spend a couple days just downtown, concentrating like, okay, today we're going to be in Chelsea, tomorrow we're going to be in Brooklyn kind of thing, instead of trying to get as much of it in as possible. But the Chelsea market was so cool. There were lots of little stores, bookstores, touristy stores, restaurants, dessert places, even handmade crafted stores, which was kind of cool. But it was even better because we could spend a couple hours in there avoiding the huge thunderstorm that rolled in. Like just as fast as it rolled out, it rolled in and it was downpouring. Day 2 in New York City, day 3 of our trip, and our last final day. So this day we were kind of not in a super big hurry. We only had one thing on our list of things we wanted to do, which was to get to Central Park. The hotel we stayed at, or the inn that we stayed at, was really, really lovely. It's called Fox Hollow Inn. Because we were there on weekdays, they did have a really wonderful buffet breakfast and dinner available for guests there, so that was really neat. So we had a leisurely breakfast, and then we took the train from Syosset to Grand Central Station. This seemed to be the most affordable and quickest and easiest way to get downtown. But then when we would return back to the hotel in Syosset, we would actually we would go to Penn Station, which was near Madison Square Garden. And that was only because Penn Station was easier to navigate to get to our train to get back to Syosset, whereas Grand Central Station was more easy to get into downtown, if that makes sense. So Penn Station is just a little bit smaller. There's not as many terminals, which is nice, so you don't get lost as easily. Grand Central Station is huge, and it just kind of goes off into a bunch of different terminals and tunnels and trains, and it just was not something we wanted to try to navigate on our way back. We got in around downtown around probably like 10:30, 11, just very, very leisurely morning. And then we just started heading towards Central Park. And whatever we hit that interest us on the way, we would stop at. We tried to take different roads, like instead of taking one, like 34th Street, I think was one that we were on a lot. Instead of taking, 7th Street, we took 8th Street. We went down 5th Street, of course, and had to see like Saks on 5th Avenue or whatever. We didn't go in, but we needed to see it, to say we saw it. We walked past Rockefeller Center, got to see the ice skating rink. That was a roller skating rink because that's what was in season. We got to, again, visit the other second Magnolia Bakery, which is located actually at the bottom part of the building, right across the street from Rockefeller, but NBC Studios / Radio City Hall, like it was right there. So we did get to visit there, which they have apparently like the best banana bread pudding. So Aubrey did get that, and it was pretty tasty. So we ate that treat across the way while watching the roller skaters. And then after that, we again just made a beeline to Central Park to see how much of Central Park we could see. Central Park is huge. I feel like you can actually see the whole thing in a day. Somebody mentioned that like it's so big you want to spend a couple days there, but if you keep moving and you're like me and Aubrey, you can actually see the entire park in one day. We of course took a while to get there because we were stopping to see other stuff, so we didn't get to see all of Central Park, but we saw a majority of it. We didn't go through the zoo just because it wasn't really something that was on either one of our lists of things to do. There are other things that we wanted to see more since we were limited time. Next time we go back, I would probably go to the zoo just to see it. But we got to stroll around everywhere. We got to see the famous like library mall walk or whatever the heck it's called that's in all the romantic movies. It's funny now that I've been there and walked it. Every single time I see it in a movie, I immediately recognize it. And I'm like, I sat at that bench, which is kind of fun. And we saw, the Alice in Wonderland statue. We saw the, water lake that was there, and then the boat place. And I'm really sad though because the boathouse, I wanted to eat there, but it was closed down for renovations, which was such a bummer because there are so many iconic shows and movies and scenes that have been shot there that I was like, I just want to have lunch there. But they were closed, so sadly we had to get a New York hot dog, which honestly was just a normal hot dog at a cart. So we enjoyed that on a bench. And yeah, we just wandered around Central Park for the rest of the stay, and it was really, really enjoyable. I had a very lovely time with Aubrey. She is one of my best friends, so that was really nice. It was nice to get a lot of exercise. I averaged like 22,000 steps a day while I was there. I don't miss the air quality, and I don't miss the sunscreen and lathering I had to do those 2 days to protect my face, but I am looking forward to making a visit back there because I think that now that I know the lay of the land better and know what to expect, I can really have a nice relaxed trip the second time and see all the things I missed, and maybe take advantage of going up to the sky deck and paying for those types of experiences. The only reason I didn't this trip was because again, me and Aubrey had such a limited amount of time downtown and we wanted to see so many things that standing in lines to do experiences like that was just not something that was appealing to us for this trip. So hopefully one day we can do a second trip that can be more relaxed, hopefully with our spouses and maybe more friends, and we can do those things. But it was a lovely, lovely trip. I highly recommend a visit to New York. I think it's a lot of fun. There you have it. There was our little girls trip. Again, it was a really quick trip. We flew in one day, we're there a whole day, and then we're there most of a third day and then flew out that night. It was really, really nice. And going to Airem and visiting their spa and having the treatments done was really, really awesome. Wonderful experience as well. Again, just spending time with Dr. Park and getting to know her med spa and experiencing the treatments was really, really nice. My skin looked gorgeous after it was fully healed after 5 days. I was very good at protecting it the entire time I was there. I stayed out of the sun as much as I could when I got home, but then again left on Friday to go to the lake with my family for 7 days. So that was interesting. I did keep a hat on the entire time I was on the beach and also slathered 70 SPF on my face. But my skin just feels and looks still really, really nice. I wish it was a treatment that I could do regularly, but I don't know if it's offered here. I'll have to look, but I highly, highly recommend giving them a visit or giving them a call or sending them a message and making a trip to New York to visit them if you're not in the area. I think it's a wonderful girls trip. And again, you can stay at Fox Hollow Inn. That's also beautiful. And then just take the train into New York as many days as you want. But yeah, there was our trip. Again, can't wait to go back. If I do, I will document it a whole lot better than this time, I promise. And yeah, if you have any questions about anything that I mentioned during this video, feel free to leave them below. I think I may do a packing video on my Instagram. I'm not sure. I did take some footage, but don't know what I'm doing with that quite yet. But follow me on Instagram if you want to see more content. I do post more regularly there, and also I do post more insightful things there, I guess you can say. So there you have it. There was my little New York travel vlog and visit to Airem Beauty. Thank you so much, Airem, for inviting me and Aubrey out. We had a wonderful time, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Bye.
Oh my god, it's so weird.